You're live.
Good evening, Sandites. Welcome to the March 11th segment of District Dialogue. As you probably saw from our post, we are covering enrollment again, but I want to start with a few district updates before we roll into the topic of the evening. So I'm glad you're joining us. This will be posted on our Sandite Learning YouTube channel, and in case you missed something, you can go back and watch it and tell your friends. That's what I would say. Tell your friends. So I'm going to start with our vaccine clinic that we delivered to our employees on Friday, last Friday actually. And just a little bit of data. We actually had 385, I believe at last count, vaccines delivered to mostly Sand Springs Public Schools employees, but also partnered with Berry Hill Public Schools and Keystone Public Schools. And it was a great day. Just a sense of relief from our staff coming in to get their first dose of actually the Moderna vaccine for COVID. So that was a big hooray for us. Our Sandites, we had 301 vaccines delivered to our staff, and it covered anyone who wanted to come in and get a vaccine. So teachers, support staff, including paraprofessionals, bus drivers, child nutrition folks, just anybody who wanted to get that vaccination. So hooray. Our second dose is set to be delivered April 2nd, which is, I believe, again, a Friday. And so very excited about fully vaccinated staff members. We think that we're close to about 70% of our staff, as some have chosen to get the vaccine in other places, which is great. But it was a great day for Sandbag World, that's for sure. Small update on the facilities. As you all probably know, we had some pretty major water leaks due to the sub-zero freezing temperatures. I've been calling it the big freeze. But ECEC and Angus were two of our facilities that were affecting student attendance, obviously. I'm proud to say that ECEC was back up and running today. So we had kids back in class, which felt extremely good. And Angus is set to resume in-person instruction March 22nd. And my letter's posted on our Facebook page and also the Angus Valley Facebook page. So unless there's any kind of crazy circumstance, our students will be back at Angus on March 22nd. So great news for Sandite World for sure. The last thing I want to say before we kind of dive into enrollment, no pun intended, we really are calling it D.I.V.E, data verification and help me, Carrie, what is this acronym?
Data information and verification for enrollment. D.I.V.E.
D.I.V.E. And by the way, the guy in the Sandite outfit in the visual is actually Dylan Cawley. So if you know Mr. Cawley at Clyde Boyd Middle School, you need to give him a lot of grief. He loves us. We'll throw him right on under the bus. So he's a great sport, though, so we appreciate that. By the way, going back to facilities, I have to give a shout out to Mr. Mike Bynum. He's our maintenance director and literally has worked, I wouldn't say 24/7, but very close to it, and definitely a lot of weekends trying to get us back up to speed. So big shout out to Mike. Google form, there's a Google form out there, I believe, Sean, am I correct about that? You are not giving us some sound. Are you muted? No, I can't hear you. So there, let me just say there should be a Google form out there that you can access to ask questions. And so Sean Beard has left the meeting, but I'm sure will return. Nothing like a glitch. We're actually doing this a little bit different tonight, so bear with us. This is completely virtual in a Google Meet, so we're all kind of in our separate offices. So, and then he has joined again. Here.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
So
probably better that I don't talk to begin with. That's okay.
So talk to us about the Google form.
So at the bottom of your screen, you're going to see a banner that throughout the evening tonight, you can, if you have a question about anything that's going on regarding enrollment, please use that link at the bottom of the screen. And throughout the night, we'll take turns just kind of fielding questions as they come in. And that's basically it.
I will say the strategy of going live makes us a little uneasy because just glitches can happen. But you get to see us at, kind of vulnerable, which is maybe a good thing, I think. So anyway, so we're going to dive into ECEC first. Just like I said, ECEC is back open. ECEC is our Early Childhood Education Center. Been extremely proud of that site for many years, and it's really a state-of-the-art facility for our fours, and of course in partnership with CAP. That part serves birth to age 3. But it's time for EC enrollment, and one of the disadvantages I think that we as an admin team have is that we aren't familiar with our new fours, and so it's a great program. Anybody that turns 4 prior to September 1 is eligible to enroll. It's a full-day program. One of the extremely proud moments that we had at our Early Childhood Education Center was when we were able to offer extended care at a very nominal fee for folks that can't arrive to pick up their student by 2:30. So we actually stay up until 5:30 for those that need to access after school care for the 4-year-old program. So great place. Miss Morgan Douglas is the principal at that facility, and she's new this year, first year, and she has done outstanding. So I would encourage you to go ahead and get on the portal tomorrow. I believe it opens. Carrie Slay-Huber is with us tonight. She's our Enrollment Center director. The portal opens tomorrow, so get on, get registered, because it's a great program.
Yes,
Sean?
absolutely. And Sharon, let me just interrupt really quickly. If parents of potential incoming pre-K students, if they want to check out the Sand Springs ECEC Facebook page, Miss Douglas has actually put some really detailed directions to how those parents, because this will be their first time sending their babies to us, and so check that page out because Miss Douglas put a graphic together to help them out.
Perfect, and it's very developmentally appropriate. So it's not like we sit in chairs all day and we do pistol paper tasks. It's very much a little bit of play oriented. Sometimes people say, "Gosh, it seems like they're playing," and the answer is yes, they do a lot of play. But it's directed play, and we learn a lot from just direct play. So love the program, love the people, and very proud of that. So Sean, now that we can hear you, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
We're going to shift into the student survey that has gone out. And if you can talk a little bit about the statistics that we already have back in terms of a perspective regarding the ratio of full-time virtual versus in-person brick and mortar, that would be great. But Sean's going to describe those learning options, and we really, really, really need you to complete the survey. So Sean, take it away.
So at the bottom of your screen now, you're going to see a different link. This link is to a 21-22 school year student enrollment survey. The purpose of this survey is to kind of give us some perspective about where your kids are going to be attending next year within the district. And the reason we're asking that question is because if you go back to about a year ago with COVID and with quarantining, we had to get an understanding of where students would be because we knew a lot of families would want to do virtual learning with our virtual academy. And currently we have about 20% of our district students attending with the Sand Springs Virtual Academy. And the remainder of our students are in full brick and mortar, which means that they attend in the classroom, just like they normally would, or they're part of a blended schedule, which means that they are on campus part of the day, but then they might be doing some virtual academy work part of the day. Now that blended learning and virtual learning are different from what we talk about when we talk about distance learning. Distance learning is a term that we use throughout the course of the school year for when students have to exit the classroom due to exposure to COVID-19 or if they were sick with COVID-19, in which case they would still continue to work with their brick and mortar teacher, but working online. And so we just want to kind of differentiate that so that you can kind of understand why we're asking what we're asking with this survey. If we table the idea of distance learning and we just look at the 3 modes of learning that we traditionally have in Sand Springs, full brick and mortar in the classroom, blended, which is a combination of brick and mortar and online, or full online with the virtual academy. We're asking parents to fill out the survey tonight and in the coming weeks so that we can get a gauge of whether your students will be in the virtual academy, blended, or brick and mortar, so that we can plan things such as staffing and purchasing of curriculum. So this is not necessarily something that's just going to pigeonhole you into one place. If you change your mind, that is fine. But we would just kind of like to get an understanding early on so that we can start making plans for the next school year. So
Sean, we've sent that out via, I believe, a text message. Have we not?
We have. We sent that out about 3 weeks ago. Some of you may have already answered questions to that survey. If you've already filled out that survey for your children, and we do ask that you fill out the survey for each child in your household. But if you've already filled it out, you don't need to fill it out again necessarily. But we will send another message out tomorrow so that families can have that survey link if you don't get it from the video tonight. And we just ask that you fill that out for each child in your household.
So the last time I checked, Sean, it's been a few days. We almost had 1,800 respondents.
Yeah.
Already, and we were seeing a trend toward in-person instruction. And do you recall what the percentage was?
I want to say it was close to about 92% in-person learning.
Yeah, that's my recollection. So if you think about this year, we had approximately 78-79% of our student population inside brick and mortar in-person instruction. That's shifting to 92%, at least how it's trending, meaning families are choosing to come back to in-person instruction, which is what we would have predicted post-COVID. So we're seeing some, I don't know about you guys, Carrie, Sean, Tina's in the background under Standout Learning doing all the technology stuff, by the way. Miss Moses is amazing as well. But I would have predicted that, and I think that, at least for me, we all have a tendency to agree that in-person really is the best mechanism. And frankly, this whole kind of dark cloud of COVID is, I feel like, lifting off our shoulders a little bit, and a change to normalcy is going to be great. I say normalcy very carefully because I think that we've learned a ton about delivery of instruction. We're going to be better. We're going to be a lot better for it. So Sean, thanks for clarifying that again. Anything else you want to add?
Like I said, you can either grab the link from the bottom of the screen tonight and you can go ahead and fill that out tonight, or we will send out a notification via the school app and text message so that people can have that link. So just look for that in your phone or in your inbox.
In your phone or on
in your phone.
With the right.
No, it'll be inside the phone. Actually.
Inside the phone. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're going to dive. Carrie's going to dive for us. Yeah. And go into enrollments. Carrie, I'm just going to shift it to you. I think there might be a slideshow.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll give Tina a second to get that going.
I think you can present it from your side, Carrie, the slideshow.
Okay.
You need some.
Let's do that.
If Tina said she could do it.
No, I'm getting there.
Oh, okay.
All right, we're working on our competency skills with this new way we're doing this tonight. So fabulous. I see it up, Carrie.
Okay, awesome. So just to refer back to Ms. Durkee's reference, this is my friend Dylan Cowie jumping off of the rock ledge there, diving in. We wanted to create this acronym to help parents have an understanding of what we're really asking of our current families at the end of this year. I think the word enrollment confuses people sometimes because they're thinking my child's gone to Sand Springs for the last 5 years. They're already enrolled in Sand Springs schools, and you're correct in that understanding. What this is really about is updating your information, and so that's the D.I.V.E is the data information and verification of enrollment, and that is what we're going to talk to you about a little bit today. And so Did my slide move forward there?
You did a good job.
Yay, look at me. Look at me being tech savvy. So let's talk. Okay, so we've already talked about this, that you guys can get the link here if you want to ask us any questions while we're here live. You can absolutely ask questions and we'll be ready to answer those for you. And we've also talked about this page. Look, we're so far ahead of the game here. This is what Mr. Beard talked about a little bit. And so here's what I want to really get to. In talking about information verification, there are a few reasons that are really important that we need that information from you. Obviously, one of those is that the state requires this information from us. There are things that they look to help us understand trends and demographics and activities that are happening within our district. And so they're looking for that information. A huge one for us on each individual site is that we need to make sure that we have correct information for you. If you got a new cell phone and you forgot to let the school know and your child is sick or there's an emergency, we want to be sure that we can get a hold of you. And so this is just a really simple way for you to go in and update that information in our registration gateway. Like Mr. Beard talked about, with understanding if the students are going to be brick and mortar or if they're going to be virtual, we need to understand what those numbers look like at every site, because we need to decide, does this elementary school need another third grade teacher, or do we need to add a English teacher at the high school? We've got to be sure to know exactly how many students that we're going to have coming in that are already current students that are going to be back with us the next year. And then the last thing really is that this helps us with federal funding. And so there are things that we ask you to fill out, like the free and reduced lunch form for child nutrition. That helps for federal dollars that we can get to help serve your students. And so I think sometimes there might be a misconception of parents that we're asking personal information for our own benefit, and that's just really not the case. We are really only trying to utilize this information to make sure that we can serve your kids in the very best possible way.
Right. I mean, it does help us with funding, not just federal, but also state aid carry too. The other part of that is, I would add that it helps parents that might need those services, like a free or reduced cost lunch program and breakfast too, by the way. So super important to remember, yes, it's a way to, ADA, ADM, but truly it's also a benefit for families that have those needs. And that's important.
Absolutely. On this next slide, I've just got a little bit of basic information about the Enrollment Center. If you're familiar with our setup here in Sand Springs, it's on the back side of Page Academy, and it's at 104 West 4th. We've got 3 amazing ladies that work in our Enrollment Center 5 days a week from 8 to 4, and they're always there willing to serve you. They can be reached by phone or by email, and they can really be a resource for you. And I'm actually, since I am now so tech savvy, I'm going to take you all to the Enrollment Center page on our district website. And if you click and go down to the Enrollment Center, can you see the website? You can see here that we've got a graphic that's reminding you it's time to update your information for next school year. And so when you scroll down the page just a little bit, here is a visual of where the Enrollment Center is actually located. And then we've got 2 tabs. We have, are you a current Sand Springs student? Like you are physically a Sand Springs student right now in one of our sites. And if so, then you're going to click on the tab that says click here. Or are you enrolling a new student? So my child is going to be in pre-K, so it'll be their very first time in school. Or we are moving into the district at summer break, and we're going to be coming to your school next year. You're going to click on enrolling a new student, and that's going to be both of those links are going to take you directly to some pretty extensive step-by-step instructions. We really tried to get down to every single detail to make it as user-friendly for parents as we could. so that you can follow those step-by-step instructions to get your information entered into our registration portal.
Hey, Carrie, let's
Tomorrow.
because we're doing this big push right now for current students. In other words, students that are attending Sand Springs Public Schools right now. But if there's a person that moves into the district or knows they're going to be here in the fall and can prove residency, new students could also enroll, but are right?
Absolutely, yes. So the portal for new students is actually always up and running. So where it says, are you enrolling a new student, you can absolutely go in and go ahead and get that taken care of. And it will ask if you're enrolling for this school year or if you're enrolling for next school year. And so we would love for parents to do that know that their kiddos are going to land with us next year. For the current students, that actually is not going to go live until tomorrow. We did some roll up of our information in our student information system yesterday and today to get everybody's information ready to go in that portal. And so at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, that site will be live and parents will be able to click there and also start getting information.
That could be a fun spring break project. Spring break is I just think it would be a fun project, don't you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The great thing is when you do click on that link to register a student that is a current student, you're going to see on the last page of those instructions that you're going to have contact phone numbers and emails for the attendance clerks at whatever site your child or your children are attending. So if you do hit a roadblock or if you have difficulty, you're going to be able to reach out to them. And as soon as they get back from spring break, they're going to be willing to help you with that. For example, there are some documents that you have to upload. If you don't have the capability to do that, then you can let the site know and they can help you with that. But we did also put a link in there to show you can upload things even from your phone. And so it's, like I said, really user-friendly. We've tried to think of every little detail that could be difficult for you, and we've tried to make that easier. And we're asking, our goal is to have every current Sand Springs student completely finished with the D.I.V.E by the last day of school, but it would help us so much if it was actually done by May 1st. That would be so huge for those site attendance clerks, because you can imagine the end of the school year is a pretty hectic time for them. They are doing a lot of wrap up. And so if they aren't having to chase people and make phone calls and say, hey, don't forget you need to do this, then that's going to help them out and they'll appreciate it for sure.
Absolutely. And I think we're going to spend a little bit of time at the parent portal page when we're finished, but keep going, Carrie. I know there's maybe more.
Well, I mean, I really think that that's the biggest thing. I will say I'll give a plug to our Facebook page because that's another place that we're going to push information out. Obviously, your first look should be the Sandite website, www.sandites.org. But as we all know, social media is a great resource. And I think even in this year of COVID, we've learned it's a great tool for us to be able to use to communicate with our families. So that's another place that you can go. We're going to give updates there. We can answer messages on that page. In fact, I answered one today from a parent that they said, I've uploaded everything. Do I still have to make an appointment? Nope, you sure don't, because you did everything that you needed to do. So it was great. And so that's another place that you can go is the Sand Springs Enrollment Center Facebook page.
I'm going to plug momentarily before we pause to answer any questions, because we're really trying to keep it in 45 minutes so we don't take up too much time. But on the website, and Carrie, I don't know if you can go back to the main page of the website.
Sure.
We have a SSPS family engagement page. If you'll click on that, I believe that the current school calendar, I hope it's there. If it's not, we're going to have Tina help, who's brilliant. It's there. So if you click on the parent engaged parent resources and hit the district calendar. So Carrie, if you, I'm going to try to direct you to it. Go to parent resources.
Mm-hmm. Family resources.
Parent resources. And then if you scroll down where you see the icons, there's a little bus and English ELL, the little school calendar one. If you click on that one, it will give you this year's calendar, of course, and then the board approved 21-22 school year. So that can help you understand what days we have, in vacation, Christmas, and all that stuff, and helping you plan activities that you want to do outside of school. So that's helpful to know. Really thinking that we're going to have a normal year and this is going to hold true, and we're just going to say that it is. But that's handy, that's there, and so please take advantage of that. We do also prepare a document that really describes when back to school nights are, when scheduled pickup is for students, all of those kind of back to school timelines. And Carrie, you might speak to that just a little bit in terms of preparation, when that's going to be out.
Yeah, so that's actually a tab now also on the Enrollment Center page. And if you see here, when you scroll down to the bottom left-hand side of the page, it says coming soon. So we will very quickly, we're hoping right after spring break, we've asked the school sites to get these numbers to us, school supply lists, and the 2021-2022 back to school events. So those are they're called a different thing at each school, but this is when you learn who your teacher is in elementary school. This is when you pick your schedule up at the high school or the middle school. And it might be called a meet and greet, or, you don't know what it's called, but we will make sure that all of those events are listed there so that you can access them really quickly and know where and when you need to be at your site.
Nice. I know people get really anxious for that document, and I, for one, happen to be one of those people that are anxious to see that, and so it just helps families prepare for just getting their kiddos ready for school. So Sean, I'm going to pause and see if there's any questions on the Google form, and let's try to answer those.
There are no questions at this time.
Okay, well, awesome. Anything, guys, that we can think of before we say goodbye to our folks? Last minute thoughts? All right.
No, I think that we are really prepared, and you're like I said on the D.I.V.E, your district, your site teams are ready to help you out, and so it will be great. And the Enrollment Center is also very willing to be helping any way there too. So
fantastic. Go ahead.
And I'll just throw in there, just keep checking back on the enrollment page on the Sandite website, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok.
Oh my gosh, TikTok. You wanted, so they did a video today with two of our students from Charles Page High School with a cute little, hey, it's time to enroll. By the way, high school kids are much more willing to get on camera for the most part than we are, so they did a great job with that.
That was supposed to be a Sean and Carrie TikTok, so shout out to Maddie Bateman and Sango Whitehorn for taking our places on that video.
I'm so glad they took our places.
Yeah, it's called Off the Hook on that one. So anyway, all right. Well, I think that we're going to say goodbye for now then, and please know that the numbers that you have to your sites are going to take you to people that are eager to help you get registered and dive, to help you dive into this enrollment thing. So utilize those folks that are standing ready for you.
Let me say one more thing, and I'm so sorry, I should have said this in my presentation. Every site actually sent that email out this afternoon at the end of the school day. I know for my son, who is a Charles Page High School student, I got that email as a parent right at the end of the day. And so you may already have that in your inbox from your site about the D.I.V.E.
Perfect. And so remember next week's spring break. I think everybody's really excited about a little bit of time off. So offices will be closed next week. So the time to call would be, of course, March the 22nd when we're back. So I think that's it for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Again, share the link with friends and family, others that you think might need the information. And we will see you next time on Dialogue. Night, everyone.